Hello people of the internet, this is Shaky Jake, and I really need a catchphrase. The last time I talked about Doctor Who was where I looked at the 5 Who fans' bizarre outlook on Big Finish Productions and their Doctor Who licence, so if you haven't watched that yet, feel free to give that a shot if you like the Doctor Who audios, or audios in general, and want to see how an entire YouTube fan channel can completely misunderstand how an expanded universe for a franchise works. Now the 5 Who fans' content is appalling, and after my last video, you will know why I dislike their content so much, but I will give them some credit at least. The 5 Who fans channel do attempt to put some effort into their content and try to be engaging for their audience, even if I think their attempts at it are horrible and their work is terrible. I can also see why the 5 Who fans hosts could be considered entertaining, even though I suspect their audience are very young and don't know any better. The channel that we will be looking at today, on the other hand, however, is the epitome of YouTube's lowest of the low. Now this person is Grant24678, a Doctor Who fan who gives me the impression that he dislikes the show more than he actually likes it. Now Doctor Who fans moan a lot, and I know I moan a lot about it too, but there are people who do this and are still much more interesting to watch and listen to. So I have a big confession to make about Grant24678, and that was that I was subscribed to him about 6 or 7 years ago. Yes, you did hear that correctly. I can't remember why I ever subscribed to someone whose videos are pretty terrible and uninspiring 99% of the time, other than wanting to see how someone can be so bad at making videos and to see what bizarre things he's going to say next. His brother isn't much better either, but he's at least somewhat more engaging and a slightly more positive figure. Now imagine if Alan Partridge and Will Mackenzie from The Inbetweeners had a love child and you end up with Grant24678. Except the two characters I mentioned are funny and engaging, so the comparison I just made is quite insulting to both of them, so apologies to those two characters. Grant24678 is the kind of person who people like to laugh at, not with. It's also fairly easy to pity him at the same time because he believes he is important and respectable when really he just isn't. When I eventually unsubscribed, it was because I was so bored of seeing his low quality videos pop up alongside videos that I wanted to watch that were much more entertaining and better made. I'm surprised that there are still just over 800 people subscribed to him, which is more subscribers than I have, but that's not saying much. Today's video sees Grant disagree with the direction that Doctor Who is going in, so nothing new there really. Now that in itself isn't a problem, as I also had issues with Jodie Whittaker's casting at first and didn't like the ideas behind it, but after a few months I have mellowed out enough to want to see where the show goes in the future. But who knows, maybe there are some legitimate reasons as to why the casting choice is a bad idea. I know, I have read plenty of them. Or maybe not, looking at the like to dislike ratio on Grant's video. So let's begin with his, thankfully, very short video.
Well, look where I am, back in my old family room, because of circumstances outside my power.
Your family room is the least appealing room I have ever seen, and that's not saying much given how your normal filming location wasn't that nice looking either. No natural lighting, no signs of furniture, nothing. This looks more like a cheap makeshift studio more than anything. There's so many creases in the background based on what's behind you. Do some ironing or something. Could you at least try to make your filming environment a bit more interesting? I bet your family don't approve of their home being represented like this.
So this is where I'll be spending Christmas, in this very, very, very cramped room.
I can imagine.
So someone commented on one of my videos about my opinion of the new female Doctor.
Wow, people still comment on your stuff? Wow, I mean, the last time I watched anything from this guy was about 5 years ago, maybe 4 years if I'm being generous. Some things never change. And yes, someone must have been desperate enough to want to ask this person out of every other single person in the world about his opinion on the 13th Doctor. Looking at another video from Grant, he said that he removed a video about Missy because of the high level of abuse that video received. I wonder how much of that abuse is based on people merely disagreeing with Grant as opposed to flat out attacking him on a personal level. I guess we'll never know.
And so I thought I'd do a video about that because I don't feel like I make that many videos these days.
And that's most likely for a very good reason, because most of your videos are pretty crap.
And I think that's going to be one of my New Year's resolutions, to make more videos. More comical videos, not videos of just me talking. My basic opinion
Hold on, your aspect ratio has changed. What happened? I know your production values are incredibly low and unprofessional even by a low budget standard, but what happened? Did you change cameras when you were recording this? Did you modify the aspect ratio in your editing software? What did you do? To get back to the point you're trying to make, if your videos aren't of you moaning, then your attempts at comedy are childish and unfunny in multiple ways. You've been doing this for a decade and there's been little to no improvements whatsoever.
My basic opinion on the new Doctor is that she isn't a new Doctor, and the fact is that Peter Capaldi was the last Doctor.
And you're perfectly entitled to hold that opinion. There are going to be several people who will refuse to watch Jodie Whittaker's Doctor Who, and that's fine, providing you have some compelling reasons for it. You could have said that you find it hard to identify with women. Maybe you don't like to watch shows with a female lead. Perhaps the change is just too much even by Doctor Who standards. It could also be that casting a woman as the Doctor is more of a publicity stunt as opposed to being the right decision right now. Those are just a few examples right there, and some of those things I just said were thoughts that I originally had at the time when Jodie Whittaker was cast, and why it felt off to me at the time. The difference here, however, is that you don't actually provide any compelling reasons for disliking it, as you don't actually elaborate into why you dislike it.
And that Jodie Whittaker just isn't the new Doctor.
Well, I think you need to realise that it's been a year since Jodie Whittaker was announced as the 13th Doctor. There's a whole bunch of promotional material and merchandise centred around her. I think it's pretty safe to say she is the 13th Doctor at this stage. I was irritated at first for a few months, then I realised that I still want to watch the show and that there's more important things to get irritated about in real life than this. Even in Doctor Who's case, I got more irritated with Chris Chibnall's comments about how his series is the most inclusive Doctor Who has ever been, when that just screams of making it an agenda and not necessarily going for the strongest candidates to work on the show. But whatever, that's a completely different topic altogether.
Because we just have to completely cut her out. Because she can't be considered a Doctor, because she's a woman.
Have you seen her portrayal in Doctor Who yet? Because if so, let me know, as I wouldn't mind watching it around about now.
And that is an extreme violation of the whole 50-odd years of Doctor Who.
Now, when Whittaker's casting was announced, I was not a fan. I thought it was a mistake, a terrible idea, something that was unappealing to me personally, but then as time went on, I realised that I actually didn't mind too much, and I want to see how this goes down, because it could be great. Of course, it could be awful and ruin the show entirely, but let's assume that this is going to be a positive idea going forward, shall we?
So we can't allow it. No, no, no. And I don't want to get all heated about it because people just get angry and start moaning and saying, oh, well, you can't say that sort of thing. Well, I did just say that thing.
Your whole channel is you moaning all the bloody time about mostly useless stuff. You have no room to accuse others of moaning at you for your opinions, which people may disagree with.
And this is my opinion. This is what I truly and utterly believe in my heart. So, you know... And I am extremely annoyed with Jodie Whittaker personally because I think she shouldn't have accepted the role at all. She shouldn't have even gone up for the role because it shouldn't have been open to men and women. It should have just strictly been open to men because the Doctor's been a man, 12 times now, and then suddenly he's a woman? It's just stupid, isn't it, really? It's ludicrous crap.
I dare you to say that to Jodie Whittaker's face. I mean, come on, man. Has she really offended you that much? You can disagree with her casting, and I know there was a stage where I did, but to hold it personally against her is a bit extreme, isn't it? She isn't the only factor in getting cast. You might as well blame Chibbers and the BBC for casting her in the first place. Now again, as I said earlier, I wasn't a huge fan of the casting choice when it was first announced, and I thought it was stunt casting as opposed to being the best choice. There were also some comments around the time that indicated that Chibbers only envisioned a woman for the part, and that Whittaker was his first choice, which again I disagreed with, but if Chibbers wants to go and cast a female Doctor, then he is allowed to do so now that he is in charge of the direction Doctor Who has. Someone was going to cast a female Doctor eventually. The female Doctor was a joke that Tom Baker and John Nathan Turner once talked about, and even Sidney Newman, the creator of Doctor Who, wanted the BBC to cast a female Doctor after Colin Baker. I'd have thought, being a Doctor Who fan, you know your history and discuss this to some degree in your video.
You know, so obviously I'm not very happy about it, and I am not going to watch Doctor Who from now on.
If I know people like this well enough, it's that when they say they won't watch something ever again, then they will find a way to still watch it, and in this case, make videos about it, still moaning about why they dislike it. Or, shock horror, actually realise that they may actually enjoy it. But we know this person by now. He doesn't enjoy anything, and he is one of the most toxic people I have ever witnessed. Which says a lot given that this is the internet.
I watched the Christmas special, which I'm excited about, because I've seen the Doctor Who magazine, which shows, spoilers and things for the Christmas special, and I'll watch it. I always say that there are two really depressing things on Christmas Day. One I can't mention.
I'm glad he didn't go into what that was.
But the second most depressing thing on Christmas Day is watching Doctor Who. I watched the Christmas special, which I'm excited about, because I've seen the Doctor Who magazine, which shows, spoilers and things for the Christmas special, and I'll watch it. But the second most depressing thing on Christmas Day is watching Doctor Who, because usually it's total utter crap.
Why are you watching Doctor Who on Christmas Day if you find the Christmas specials that depressing to watch? Why do you choose to put yourself through them? Oh right, it's because you thrive off being depressed.
You kind of think this is the end for Doctor Who now. Any exciting new ideas that they put forward can't be enjoyed because we've got a female Doctor.
Again, I'm not the biggest fan of the female Doctor concept, but I would be very surprised if the show ended because of one female lead casting. The show would have to do everything wrong over the next year or two with regards to the reception and the viewing figures for the BBC to even consider axing the show when they still profit off it.
So that's just the thing that... it's just frustrating, the fact that they do that. I mean, I think they've been planning this for some time. I think they've always wanted a female Doctor because they put the Master and turned him into a woman, and that was testing the waters. And then they thought, well, if people can accept that, they can accept that there's a female Doctor. But we really can't.
You're projecting your own thoughts onto everyone else. Not everyone thinks the same way as you do, and even people who agree with you about being against the direction of Doctor Who won't fully agree with you. They also most likely have more compelling reasons for disliking it more than you do.
I mean, I hope there are more people out there who just will say, that's it. There were 12 Doctors. That's how it is. Because it's upsetting to think there are people out there who can accept it, and I just can't.
Why is it upsetting? Why are you taking this personally? Why is it bad for people to like this idea or appreciate it? Again, I disliked the casting choice at first and disagreed with it, and I keep reiterating it to prove a point. But to say that everyone else is wrong for liking it, that seems rather short-sighted.
Maybe that's my anxiety and depression.
Anxiety and depression do not tell you how to view a television show. You either like something or you don't. When you have anxiety and depression on such a big scale, the creative decisions behind a product are far less important in comparison, and I say that as someone who has brushed with both of those issues in the past. When you feel that low about yourself and your life, the design choices of a product don't matter in comparison to just being able to function in real life.
Maybe that's because I have such devotion to Doctor Who that I can't see a woman Doctor. I just think it's stupid. 12 men as the Doctor and then a woman. So there's my opinion on Jodie Whittaker.
Wait, what opinion? You barely presented an opinion on Jodie Whittaker or the Doctor becoming female. Outside of that, you disagree with it. You don't present a compelling argument whatsoever in your video, and I'm sure the people who also think that a female Doctor is a bad idea think your video barely explains it well at all. Of course, looking at the like to dislike ratio again also indicates that, and I haven't even had to add anything to it.
Jodie Whittaker, personally, I've not really looked into. I don't really know what she is.
Well, last time I looked, Jodie Whittaker is a human being who also appears to be a woman. Oh wait, I wasn't supposed to say the whole she's a woman thing out loud, was I?
What she's done before.
Jodie Whittaker has actually done quite a bit in the past. Some of them are actually rather well known too, and I know that without having even seen them. Ever heard of Attack the Block, Black Mirror, Broadchurch?
But I just think she deserves a good slap round the face. A good powerful slap round the face to bring her to reality.
Wow. I mean, wow. Did I hear that or was I just imagining it?
But I just think she deserves a good slap round the face. A good powerful slap round the face to bring her to reality.
I'm shocked. I really am.
so that she realises that this is unacceptable, she should never have accepted that role. And that's what's the most extremely frustrating point about this, is that she accepted that role, and she just should not have done it. She shouldn't have even gone up for the role, because the Doctor should never have been considered to ever be a woman. And that's what's frustrating, and that's what I believe.
What was that noise I could hear throughout your little rant there? Anyway, why shouldn't Jodie Whittaker have been allowed the opportunity to audition for the role? Doctor Who does have that slight advantage of being a character who could, in theory, completely change into somebody completely different. It's not like James Bond or Miss Marple, who are grounded in reality and hard-coded as male and female characters, and if another character like them could exist as the opposite sex, they would need to be devised as entirely new characters. But there's nothing stopping the Doctor becoming female, when the character is an alien with a proven track record of changing into multiple looks, identities, accents and body builds. And I say that as somebody who disagreed with the casting choice this time last year.
And it's sad that Doctor Who has now ended.
For you personally and a few others, not for everyone.
And that this is the end for Doctor Who. I mean, with a female Doctor it won't last much longer. No. You'll see ratings go right down to the bottom.
That could happen on a worst case scenario, or it could boost Doctor Who's performance for the next few years. Nobody knows yet. I guarantee that whatever happens, Doctor Who will outdo your channel and its content, and more people will actually watch it and enjoy it, unlike your stuff.
Yes, it'll be down right in the slums with other irritating shows like Benidorm and that guy who does that programme with his foul toilet humour, Keith Lemon.
Those are the strangest comparisons you could have possibly made.
So, yes, there's my opinion. Digest it as you will, but it'll cause controversy and I'll take it down eventually. I know I will, because
you have no backbone?
I don't like the abuse.
You don't like abuse, eh? I'm just going to play back some of the edited highlights from your video.
But I just think she deserves a good slap round the face, a good powerful slap round the face to bring her to reality. I don't like the abuse, so that she realises that this is unacceptable. She should never have accepted that role. Maybe that's my anxiety and depression, but I just think she deserves a good slap round the face, a good powerful slap round the face to bring her to reality, so that she realises that this is unacceptable. She should never have accepted that role.
I don't like the abuse. I don't like the abuse.
I don't like the abuse.
Maybe that's my anxiety and depression.
I think those few extracts provide a nice exploration of Grant 24678 and why people don't particularly like him as a person or as a content creator.
That's one of the reasons I don't make so many videos these days, is because of the abuse level.
Or because your content is pretty crap.
And someone who suffers with anxiety doesn't need that sort of shit. So, there we go. Well, it's about 3 hours before I've got to go to work, so bye-bye.
I bet your work colleagues love to spend their time with you. Anyway, that's the end of the video, and years after I was originally subscribed to him, I'm not too surprised to see that Grant 24678 is still a fairly pathetic person who still moans about trivial stuff in the worst possible way. There are plenty of people who could very easily share the same opinions, but have the advantages of being much more personable and much more compelling to listen to, with actual reasons as to why they disagree with the design choices of a show. They could easily have much better production values than this too. Maybe I'm a simple man who just wants the little things in life to make my viewing experiences that little bit more enjoyable. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.